Hi, welcome to Legal Tech Diaries. As you know, my videos are split into two parts. First, we discuss the legal side of the topic, and then we shift into legal tech side to see how it functions in modern legal practice. In today's video, we're going to continue the topic of consideration by taking a closer look in cases where the consideration is not valid and the situations where it can be enforced. So let's start. When a party is under public duty, this duty could not be counted as a consideration to a contract. Let's take a case of the Collins versus Godroy. And in this case, the Collins was promised an extra money to appear in the court as a witness. The court held that this is not valid consideration, as it was already a duty of Collins to appear at a court as a witness. So that's why it couldn't be enforceable. Then the exceed of the duties. So we're still in a public duty and a topic, and if the duty is exceeded, this would be a valid consideration. Let's see the case Brookbook versus the Glamorgan. In this case, the police was providing the protection to a coal mine during the strike, but a manager wants a better guard and provided and promised, so to say, an extra money for their protection. In this case, the police was exceeding their duties, and that means that this consideration can be valid. Let's now talk about the part payment of the debt. Is it a valid consideration? The answer is no, based on the case of penal, so the penal case. In the case, the debtor has paid only the part of the money, and the creditor was still waiting for the second part. In this case, the debtor should pay the whole money because he is bound with the paying of the full amount. There are also two other cases which are important for the topic of the part payment of the debt. This is the Williams versus Rofe and Select Move. If there are variations in the consideration in a contract, then this should be verified, and there are two terms which should be matched to make it valid. The first one is the agreement between the parties, and the second one is the new consideration. So the new consideration should be there to make it valid. So let's go back once again to the penals case, because we're going also to see the exceptions from that. As said, in the penals case, the debtor has agreed with the creditor to pay the part of the money, and the creditor was expecting the rest of the money because the Collins was because the penal was bound to give the whole money, the full amount of the money. But there are, of course, exceptions of the penals case. The first exception is when the creditor shifts from the position. The second one is when the creditor accepts the goods or services instead of money. It can be rope or something else. For example, when you own 300 euros and the creditor says, paint my office, and we will forget about this 300 euros. The next one is the situations, so the composition with the creditors. This is in the cases, for example, bankruptcy, when the person cannot pay all the creditors and they agreed to pay only 50% of the debt. The next one is when one of your friends or family members, the third party, is paying for you. For example, your rent is 1,000 euros and your friend is paying 700 and it is settled. The next one and last one is the promissory estoppel. This is in the cases when you the creditor waive from the right of the consideration. For example, if there is a deadline, he tells that you can deliver the goods after 2 weeks, and you rely on his promise, you rely on his wife, and in these cases, he cannot go back with this. So we have reached the legal tax side, and it is important in the contracts, for mostly in the complex contracts during the negotiation, that all the amendments, variations are discussed and both of the parties are aware of it and that they are legally binding. A contract variation validator can be integrated in the management tools, contract management tools, and it can flag the changes. And for example, if an amendment has been done, it can be an amendment of the consideration, the deadline has been changed, or the party want to accept the goods or services instead of the money. It should be flagged, and automatically it should also check the validity of the consideration, if it is adequate consideration, if it lacks, it should also add the recommendations, and these recommendations would be shown in the interface, and the party would accept or reject or just be informed that there is an amendment. So this prevents not to making decisions with the lack of consideration, and have more transparency during these processes. So that's all for today's video. Thank you. See you in the next episode.